perspective. What's that? I am giving example. Suppose you bought this computer. Solely this computer wouldn't give you the accurate view of your investments unless you just recruit some employees to work on this computer.
Yes, sir.
Am I right? That means you would get the difference when you just engage some employees on the IT. You engage some employees on the IT. That means we call the accurate view of our IT investment. We will get the accurate view if we think the IT infrastructures from service platform perspective. So what is service platform perspective? We call service platform perspective means, as I mentioned, in the information system there are two views, one is technical view, another is what? Behavioral. So you need to think about this from behavioral perspective. IT itself is the technical part. Computer itself is a technology. But to get the accurate view of investment, you need to think about the information technology from service platform perspective or from behavioral perspective. That means when one employee engages on this computer, then you can easily decide whether this employee's productivity has enhanced or not. But if you just solely bring this computer, you wouldn't understand whether your company's efficiency or your company's productivity has increased or not. That's why we call the more accurate view of IT infrastructure investment would get by from what? Service platform perspective. Clear, sir? So, sir, what I have to say? Service platform perspective. What's the concept? Who can tell? Okay.
The service platform is it stands for suppose for our organization we purchase a computer. It doesn't mean it doesn't mean this is the technical part, but only we purchase this computer. It doesn't mean we need to identify who is perfect for this computer, who is operate this. We need to identify who, his performance is enhancing or not.
That is, we need to engage some employee on the computer to measure the efficiency, to measure the productivity. If you don't do that, you won't understand the accurate view of IT investment. That is, you have invested. If you visit some organization, very sophisticated computer or sophisticated technologies are theirs, but they are not getting the return from the IT investment. So we call you should think the IT infrastructure investment from service platform perspective. So what is service platform perspective? Service platform perspective means you should think about the IT infrastructure from behavioral perspective. Behavioral means you need to engage employee on the IT. Otherwise, sole IT doesn't create any change on your organization. Clear? So this is what we call service platform perspective. That is, service platform perspective give you the accurate view of your investment. And that's why we must think about the IT infrastructures, we must think about the information systems from two perspectives, technical perspective and behavioral perspective. So here we call service platform perspective. Now look at this graph, connection between the firm, IT infrastructures and the business capabilities. So a firm, whether the firm would invest on IT or not, that is determined by some factors. So some firms are investing heavily on IT, some firms are not investing heavily on IT. There is a variations on IT investments. But these IT investments determined by some factors. There are some internal factors, there are some external factors. So if these factors forces you more, then you have to invest heavily on IT. First of all, I need to ask you questions. Have you ever visited any organizations where after visiting the organization you felt like, wow, the decorations or infrastructures are very good? What's the organization? Grameenphone. And Orient Group or Standard Chartered Bank or Square Hospitals in our country, you see. So these are what? Just you didn't get the service. Just by seeing the infrastructures, you felt like okay, you would get better service from the organization. That means these infrastructures create impression on the customers. Infrastructures create impression on the customers. So ultimate target of IT infrastructure setup is giving better service to customers. Giving better service to customers. This is the ultimate output of your IT infrastructure investment. Now to develop better IT infrastructures, as I mentioned, there are some forces or there are some factors that force you to invest on IT. So in this slide we will talk about some internal forces. Later on we will talk about the external forces. So these internal forces are forcing you to invest on IT. Number one is we call business strategy, number two is IT strategy, number three is information technology. So business strategy means the way you run your business. So if your strategy, strategy is to run the business digitally, that will force you to invest on IT. Very simple. That is, you will sell your product in online. That means you need to purchase some kind of elements, computer related element. You need to invest on server. These are what we call business strategy. Now, these actually force you to invest on information technology. Second one is IT strategy. That is the way you run your information technology. That is also a force. So whether you are what's your goal, that determines how much you should invest on the information technology. And even simply information technology is a force. So what is that? I can give you an example. Like this is a projector. Now, as you have invested on this projector, that forces you to invest again. Like if this product or these projectors longevity fulfills, then you need to invest again. That's why information technology is a force. That is, if you invest on information technology, it forces you to invest again. But the organization who didn't invest on information technology, that is not a force for them. That is, if you ever adopted information technology, then that itself is a force. Think about you. As you have purchased new model smartphone on your pocket, there is most of the students are adopting with the new model smartphone. As you have adopted with these natures, whatever model are coming and you are just adopting with the change. This is happening on your personal life.
Yes.
Am I right?
Yes, sir.
That means here, you see the other students who didn't adopted the change, for him that is not a force. He didn't get such kind of force or such kind of pressures on his thinking. That is, okay, I would need to buy this device or I would need to buy this new technology. But as you are adapted with the change and this technology is forcing you to create new device again. That means technology, information technology itself is a force. Information technology itself is a force. So we call these are internal forces, and these forces actually these factors are forcing you to what? That invest on information technology. And when these forces you, then you are actually setting the IT infrastructures. You are setting IT infrastructures, and if you have developed better IT infrastructures, that means you will be able to provide better service to customers, better service to suppliers, better service to employees, better service to enterprise overall. Clear, sir? Okay, now, sir, we will talk about evaluation of IT infrastructures. That is, there are some error for computing platform. As I mentioned, number one, infrastructure element is computing platform. Now we will talk about the computing error. So you see, right now, do you know right now what's the computing error? What kind of computing we are using now? Cloud computing. This one. This is the cloud computing era. This is cloud computing era. So before that, there are some error. I am just introducing those error. You see, number one is general purpose or mainframe and mainframe computing era. It starts from 1959. the concept of mainframe. You know about mainframe. The size of the CPU was very big, like as this room or as this building. This building. So the mainframe computer, that is we call centralized concept. So there is a central CPU. You are just working on the computer. The computer size is very big. This is the mainframe. And later on in 1965, there is a concept of miniframe computers. So what is the miniframe computer? We call miniframe computer concept of decentralized computing. That is, there is a central CPU, but you are decentralizing power to other we call monitor. So lots of computers can work on single CPU. That is the mainframe. And the next era is personal computer era. That is PC. Right now you are using PC. PC, it starts from 1981 and it is still working. And the next one is client-server computing era. It starts from 1983 and it is still working. Now, have you ever used client-server computing? Sir? Have you ever used client-server computing? Anyone? You see, regularly you are using, but you don't know it is known as client-server computing. So what is it? What is the concept of client-server computing? That means there is a server and you are client. There is a server. Suppose this is the server computer and all the students have computers. We call these are client computers. These are client computer. Now you are connecting the computer to this computer to other computers. Now because this is a model of client-server computing. Now think about you. Regularly you are using internet. You are giving status on Facebook. That means you are client and you are getting services from server. That means internet is the largest implementations of client-server computing. Then internet is the largest implementation of client-server computing. That is, whenever you enter in the internet, you are the client and you are getting services from server. Understand? So client-server, the concept we have client-server. Now question is, this is internet. Now if we think about this group, that is, we need to develop a client-server computing on this group. So how do we make this client-server computing on this group? All the students have computer and there is a computer. Suppose we can make any computer as server computer and others computer as client computer. But what make one computer as server computer? Do you know about that? This. It might be this. It might be that computer. You can make any computer as server computer. Have you ever heard about this? So how do you define server computer?
Server computer is common one.
My question is, suppose there are 40 computers are there. From these 40, you want to make one computer as server computer. You want to make one computer as server computer. Right? What is called? Sorry? First one. Very simple. Okay, I am giving you the clue. On your PC, what kind of operating system you are using? Windows. Windows operating system, Windows 10, Windows 8, Windows 7. If you are a user of MacBook, you are using Macintosh. If you use mobile, you are using Android. There are lots of versions. For iPhone, you are using iOS. These are operating systems. All these are client level, not server level. So if you want to make a computer as server computer, then you need to install server level operating systems. That is Windows Server. Okay? That is, if you install Windows Server on any computer, then that computer will do what? Very simple. And there are some other elements. We will talk about details about. This is not practical course, but as you have some idea about computer, and I will talk about this, I think you will understand what I am talking. And in the server, you see already you have learned about the server and client. That is, In the this is server computers, and all the students have client computers. And why you call this is server computer? Because we have installed what? Server level operating systems, Windows Server on this computer. Then question is, in the client-server computing, there are two types of client-server computing. One is two-tier client-server computing, another is multi-tier client-server computing. Two-tier, another is what? Multi-tier or n-tier. If I show you this graph, the concept would be more clear. Look at it. Yeah. Your client, you are collecting data from server. So if you collect data from, so these are very technical terms, but if you just concentrate, that concept will be more clear. If you collect data from web server, solely web server, that means you are using two-tier computing, two-tier client-server computing. Example, suppose our university, they maintain what? On web page, bangalore.ac.bin. This address, you see, all these basic information is stored on a server. That is web server. And this is open to everyone. Some information, some basic information, anyone can access. This is the web service. So if anyone searches bangalore.ac.bd, whether he is stakeholders or whether he is students or not, whether he is employee or not, he can get some kind of information. This is what? Two-tier client-server computing. Two-tier client-server computing. Here, that means if you collect any information from web servers, in the web servers, the informations are fixed. That is, you know how to design web pages through HTML or some other languages. After designing the web pages, you need to purchase domain. And then when you purchase the domain, you see you are maintaining these servers and you are just hosting your server, and here we call you are storing your data on your web servers. And that's why the users are getting data from these web servers. So this is what? Two-tier, not multi-tier. This is two-tier client-server computing. Now think about your MIU portal, not bangalore.ac.bd. On the bangalore.ac.bd there is a MIU portal link. So on that link you are not getting data from web server. You are getting data from where? Database. You see, you are getting data from database. Nowadays, each and every organizations are using what? Database. Nowadays, each and what? Using database. Now, when you collect data from database, that means you are using multi-tier or n-tier client-server computing. Multi-tier or n-tier client-server computing. Now sir, again sir, when you are searching MIU portal and you are logging through password, and the data is not stored on the web server. Data is stored on where? Database. And there are some other servers organization is using, like application server. There might be some network server, there might be database servers. Lots of servers are there. So at that part, you are getting data from the database. You are getting data from database. Like what? Your result. When you are searching result is not stored on the web server. Result is stored on what? Database. Your payment details, it is not stored on what? Web server. It is stored on database. So when you just log in your name and give the password and you are collecting information from database, you are using what? Multi-tier client-server computing. Clear? Yes, sir. Clear? Yes, sir. Okay, sir, you. What's the difference between two-tier and multi-tier? Who said? Okay, sir, here.
Multi-tier হলো স্যার, যখন আমি কোনো ইনফরমেশন ওয়েবে থাকবে না, আমি যে ইনফরমেশন নেব ওটা ডেটাবেস থেকে নিব। আর মাল্টি-টায়ার একটা two-tier একটা হলো যেটা ওয়েবে থাকবে, সবার জন্য হবে, সবাই এখান থেকে ইউজ করতে পারবে, যেটা আমি ওয়েব থেকে নিব, যেটা ডেটাবেসে থাকবে না।
Okay, another two.
Yeah. So what is the difference between the web server and the database?
Okay. Database here we will discuss the details about database. You know, nowadays to store the data on a central data repository, the organizations are using some kind of software, database softwares like Oracle, like Microsoft Access is one kind of database software, very tiny size software. There are DB2, lots of database software. That is all the data are stored on what? Database. All the data is stored on database. But in the server, because here in the web server, you are storing the data, some your web page related data, not all the data. So you see, when you are collecting information like here, database is very big size. Details information about students' result, students' payment, then faculty members' details and others, salary related issues, organizations, all kind of issues stored on what? Database. Yes. These data are not open to everyone. These data are not open to everyone. So on the web server, you see, anyone can access manavak.ac.in. He or she can access the home button. There are some basic information, your faculty list and other information. This is open to everyone. Admission related information, this is open to everyone. So all these data is stored on what? Web server. Okay? But some we call these are very sensitive information, like students' result, like employee salary, and some other issues. All these stored on what? Database. Now, what's the difference between two-tiered and multi-tiered? If I ask you, two-tiered and multi-tiered, here you see, in case of two-tiered, we are actually collecting data from one server, not more than one server. But when we talk about multi-tiered, that means more than two servers are there. That is more than one server are there. That is multi-tiered. Like when you are collecting data from web server, this is two-tiered. But when you are collecting data from database, that is what? Multi-tiered. Here, so in case of multi-tier, there might be some other servers. Besides the web server, there might be application server, there might be network server, there might be database servers. So all these combined what we call multi-tier client server computing. Here, okay. Now you see, as I mentioned, various types of servers, network servers, application servers, web servers, these are the server issues. So you have heard this term. Now we are introducing these issues. Regularly you are engaging with client server computing. Now the concept is somewhat clear to you. That is, server is working like this way. On chapter 7 we will discuss some details idea about this client server computing model. Our next computing era is we call enterprise computing era. It starts from 1992 and it is still working. Actually, this is a model through which you are connecting disparate or diversified computers in an organization, in an enterprise. So, if you suppose if you want to manage your organizations through a computing platform, such kind of computing platform is known as what? Enterprise computing era. And the next computing era is cloud and mobile computing era. Cloud and mobile computing era, it starts from 2002. Right now we are using the cloud and mobile computing era. Now question is, you know about cloud. What is cloud computing? On demand or online computing? On demand and online computing. That is wherever you require, you can access the cloud computing solutions. So we will talk about cloud computing details, but here I am giving you some examples like cloud. Cloud might be software as a service, cloud, then it is types like software as a service, infrastructure as a service, platform as a service. You see, nowadays, to install any apps, to install any software on your application software on your computer or on your mobile, you are not taking any backup. Why? Because the software is available on the cloud. Play Store, Google Play Store is one of the example of software as a service. Software as a service. And for content, lots of content, like your music is a content, movie content. All these content, lots of content providers are there. Like YouTube is one of the content. Here you see, here all kinds of SoundCloud for what? For music or any audio related issues you are storing on the cloud. Okay, so our point is cloud computing. Okay, if you don't upgrade into the cloud computing on this era, this is unsmart, not smart. What's that? Sometimes you are getting such kind of Facebook status. That is like one of your friends mentioned, I have lost my phone, please send me your phone number. Still now, some of your friends are giving such kind of status. That means he doesn't adopted the cloud computing. So what that? That's why you are storing when you are saving your contact, you are saving on what?
Google.
Your Gmail account, that is cloud solution. So if you just sign up on other device, you will automatically get all the contact address. You don't need to just ask them to give the mobile number. Another thing, suppose you are working on your office time is over, now you are on your daily commuting, you are just going to your home. In the middle, your boss asks you, that is okay, please send me the file. And you just told him that is my file is on my office laptop or office desktop. That means what? You are not adopted the cloud computing. So wherever you work on any kind of file, whether it is Word file, whether it is Excel file, whether it is PowerPoint file, slides or others, whatever file, you must store that on the cloud. So what kind of cloud solutions are you using for storage? Dropbox, OneDrive and Google Drive, lots of solutions are there. Those who are not habituated with this, I am just suggesting you must adopt with this cloud computing. So what is that? Just install Dropbox, Google Drive or OneDrive on your computer, and whatever document you are working, just put down the file on the folder. It will automatically upload. Internet is available. Automatically upload, and you see, you just work on the file on your office desktop. Now, right now, your boss asks you, okay, send me the file. You just what? Just check out. Internet is available on your device. Just check out this from your Dropbox or from your OneDrive, and then share this to your boss. Understand? So here, cloud computing. We will talk about cloud computing. As a whole, if anyone asks you what is cloud computing, online or
On-demand computing.
here? Now, sir, we'll talk about. You see, this is technology drivers, infrastructure emulation. So all these terms we are talking about the computer. We are, as I mentioned, in this chapter we will talk about the technology dimensions. In the technology dimensions, first we are talking about the computer related issues. So we have discussed about the era, like mainframe, miniframe era, then personal computer era, client server computing era, enterprise computing era, and the latest computing era is what? Client, cloud or mobile computing era. Okay. Now we will talk about some laws about these computer evaluations. In 1965, Gordon Moore has given 3 laws about computing or about computers, and these 3 laws is still working. So what are those 3 laws? Number 1 law, Gordon Moore mentioned that computing power will double in every 18 months. Computing power will double in every 18 months. He mentioned that in 1965, after 50 years, it is still working. Now, question is, how do we measure the computing power? Or better, if anyone asks you, okay, he or she wants to buy a new computer, and he is just asking you for suggestion, that is what kind of computer he or she should buy, then you are giving them suggestions based on what? Based on configuration. Okay, processor is the factors for measuring the power. So what's the latest processor? Core i7. Yeah, here lots of versions are there. So we call Core i7, Core i5, Core i3, then what? These are some versions. So we call computing power doubles in every 18 months. He mentioned that from 1965. This is number 1 law. Number 2 law, he mentioned that the size of the transistors will be shrink in every 18 months. Size of the transistor or chip will be shrink in every 18 months. And now compare the mainframe computer with mobile devices. That means on your mobile there is a chip. Here you are using the computer. Mobile is computer, as I mentioned here. Operating system is there. Application software is there. So we call the size of the transistors is shrinking. And this shrinking happens due to nanotube. What is nanotube? Nanotube is we call 10,000 times thinner than human hair. Now think about this. 10,000 times thinner than human hair. This is the example of nanotube. Yeah, this is 10,000 times thinner than human hair. Don't see this on your own eyes. Here, this is the nanotube, but more powerful. So here lots of nanotubes are there to here process the computing power. This is the number 2 law. Number 3, he mentioned that in the slide they mentioned only 1 law. You can check out the law on YouTube. I am telling all the laws. Here this is the number 1 law. Number 2, I have mentioned the size of the transistor will be shrink. And number 3 law, he mentioned that the price of the transistors will be half in every 18 months. Now you see, you are purchasing smartphone. What's the minimum cost? 4,000, 3,000, even 3,000. Some Chinese mobile. So here, our point is here, the price is declining. Price is declining. So due to these 3 laws, if I ask you why is computing resources so rapidly